finals and another important event in my life. I wasn't able to really keep up on these videos, and I hope to be able to do that now moving forward. So we're gonna recap the last month, starting with the main reason why this little girl. Yeah, so I now have two, and that's fun. And we're gonna go through the games from this month.
Absolutely losing your freaking mind!
Just for funsies. This is the season! Excellent asset management.
No. What?
So many injuries. Jack Eichel?
Better late than never.
Better late than never.
Starting up against Boston, which the victory Flamingo stays up on because we won 4-3 against Boston Bruins, which honestly, one really fun game. It was the top of the East versus the top of the West, and Vegas was able to come out on top, and that was just awesome. It was in the shootout, and we did blow a 2-goal lead there at the end, but honestly, Paul Cotter really pulling through with us with 2 goals of his own, and that was really cool to see. Marchessault, and then Marchand, Pasternak, and Taylor Hall scoring. Bless you. It was just crazy because in this game, we're still missing Eichel, we're missing Petro for his family emergency stuff against the best team in the league, and we were up 2-0 within 5 minutes because hockey. Logan Thompson and Swayman just had a really good goalie battle in the shootout, and Thompson was able to prevail. That's Boston's first loss at home this season, so they're now 14-0-1, and that's a record that now is still like their home streak is incredible. Boston Bruins are really good, and we're gonna see them again. So this now entering finals week. I didn't watch this game against the Rangers. I checked in a couple of times. We were tied 1-1 going into the third, thanks to Capo Caco and Jonathan Marchessault scoring the goals. And then the Rangers scored 4 straight in the third to win at Vegas at home. Loses to 5-1 to the New York Rangers, yeah! Zibanejad, Hedl, Lafreniere, and Zibanejad again. And I'm moving on. However, before we move on to the game against the Flyers, I do need to say a huge thank you to the Excalibur, the casino in Vegas, because I won a giveaway on Twitter to them where I got a reverse retro jersey and tickets to a Golden Knights game. It wasn't this Philly game, it was supposed to be, but because the birth of our daughter, they allowed me to move it back a little bit, and so you're gonna see that game in this video. A huge shout out to the Excalibur, specifically because like the letters, they're from the Excalibur font, and that's great, and I love it, and so let's change. This game was a lot closer than it should have been, because they're the Philadelphia Flyers, and although they are markedly improved because Torts gets the most out of his teams, Vegas shouldn't have, the Philadelphia should not have been in this game, but instead we make Carter Hart look like a Vezina caliber goalie, which some nights he is, and then others he's not, but of course against us he is, and we still prevail 2-1 at home against the Flyers. Honestly, just a really awful game from Vegas in general. It was the ugliest win I had seen so far this season. We got the win in overtime because Marchessault with the breakaway after Philadelphia controlled a lot of that overtime. Marchessault gets his breakaway and is able to backhand this past Hart to win 2-0, 2-1 against Philadelphia. Against Boston again, but this time at home, and Eichel's out, unfortunately, and Fedor out as well. He had a scary moment against Philadelphia, but they said afterward that the injury didn't seem as bad as it originally looked, but then he's been out since. So that's fun, and we still didn't have Petro at this point, and for good reasons too, which we'll address later. But Eichel also injured now. And we lose 3-1 against the Boston Bruins. Mark Stone, that's a power play goal early for us, and then the rest of it was downhill from there. Boston truly showing why they are the #1 team in the league right now, which is just crazy because we all consider them like fringe playoff at this point because of their age and stuff, but adding Krejci back sparked that locker room, you know. On to Winnipeg. And this game, Zach Whitecloud, who then goes to IR, LTIR. I couldn't watch the replay of it. I tried. slightly, and I just became nauseous. Like, nope, it was gruesome. Miramanov starts playing with us, and so that's fun because he's actually been really, really good over this stretch, and he scores his first tonight. Mark Stone and Scheifele get the other first period goals. Mark Stone gets another in the second, but the Jets get 2 of their own, so it's tied 3-3 going into the third, and Vegas then just takes over. They make it 6-4 relatively early after, you know, Scheifele makes it 4-3. Marchessault, Carlson make it 6-4. Carlson has an empty netter. Marchessault and Stone both had 2 tonight, and then Scheifele gets a hat trick in the dying seconds of the third to get 6-5. But Vegas wins 6-5. It also just showed Vegas's resilience in this game because without our top forward and our top 2 defensemen and Zach Whitecloud, it's just crazy that we were able to go through all of that and have as good of an offensive performance as we did tonight. Then, continuing on the road in the Central, we go against Chicago, and we win this one 4-1, and just a really solid game. I don't know what else to say. I was taking a final at the time. Riley Smith scored a shorthanded goal from William Karlsson, and I was like, oh yeah, like, that's to be expected. Other goal scorers include Chandler Stevenson, Phil Kessel, which I ate a hot dog earlier for this one. Here's the picture. I can't prove it, but like, I'm not gonna go out of my way to fake eating a hot dog for this because that's just Riley Smith with an empty netter, so he had 2 this evening, and then Taylor Radish for Chicago gets 1, so that's who their goal scorer was. But it was a lot of our special teams, and Logan Thompson had a really good game. And then the next day is when Oakley was born, and the following day, the 17th, we were against the Islanders at home, wearing the retros again. It was the first game her and I watched together, and by watched, I mean I was holding her while I was watching the game.
Bless you.
Vegas loses 2-5 against the New York Islanders, and it's at this point where I'm thinking these jerseys might be cursed because we lost the first time we wore them against, who do we play against to wear it the first time? Vancouver? 5-1. We barely beat Philadelphia in overtime, and then the third time we're wearing it right now, we lose 5-2 against the Islanders. Riley Smith, the only Golden Knight to score tonight, scores 2 power play goals, and at the beginning of the second and third period. And then other than that, the Islanders just kind of swept the floor with us, and that's great. It's also at this point that we learned out why Pietrangelo had been missing. His daughter had had the flu, and it got really, really bad. From Jessie Granger, it developed into a lesion on her brain and lost all her motor skills, eating, walking, talking, even opening her eyes. And so after a scary couple of weeks, she's improved, and so he was feeling confident and comfortable and able to come back, and that's the game that he came back to, so fun. I'm gonna speed run the next few games. We go against the Sabres, we lose 3-2 because of a disastrous second period again, and we weren't able to come back enough in the third. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen just had a solid-ish game. 1 late charge at the end, couldn't get it done. Started off rough because Leschyshyn was not having a good time. Vegas kept shooting it directly at Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen's chest, and the crest of the jersey is not where you aim when you're shooting for the goal. Then on against the Arizona Coyotes, which Vegas actually wins 5-2, 5-1, 5-2. The best first period team in the league, i.e. the Vegas Golden Knights, could not, they left the first period not scoring a single goal past the Arizona Coyotes goalie for Melka. That's great. And then we exit the second period tied 1-1. And it's like, okay, we didn't completely collapse in the second period. That's good, no matter who it's against, right? No. But we pull it together in the third. Stone and Carrier score, and then Fisher gets 1 for them, and then Stone and Amadio. And Amadio has stepped in for Eichel on that top line with Stone and Stevenson, and it worked at this point moving forward. So anyway, yeah, 5-2 victory against the Arizona Coyotes. And then last game before Christmas was against the St. Louis Blues. It was again a home game, and we win 5-4 because of course it's against the St. Louis Blues, and these teams always score high-scoring games against each other. And Alex Pietrangelo with his first goal, I believe, against the St. Louis Blues, and so that was fun. It was a really, really good backhanded goal. He was playing up, and it was great. And then the second period happens. It was just a lot. Buchnevich, Stone, Tarasenko, Falk, and then Amadio. But Amadio's goal came way later, and so it was a disastrous second period where the St. Louis Blues had scored 3 goals and they were up 3-2, and then Amadio ties it towards the end, getting into the third period. It was like, yeah, typical Vegas Golden Knights St. Louis Blues game. Noel Acciari gets one, and then Stevenson, on the power play with a minute and a half left to go, ties it up 4-4, and we go into overtime. Nothing happens there. We go to the shootout, and Logan Thompson just decided he was done losing shootouts, I guess, and he kept us in this, and the Vegas Golden Knights win 5-4 against the St. Louis Blues. Going back to the Arizona game, so Arizona Coyotes logo here. Carrier, career high in goals. That was his 10th of the season. That's a career high in the single season for him. And so really, really good year for him, because we're not even halfway done with this year. And if he's able to continue at this pace, just really incredible, especially because he's been playing fourth line minutes the entire season. Marshy was out for this game because injuries just keep happening to us, but we have a little bit of a break to be able to hopefully get a little bit better. Braden Pahal and Dorofiev both get in, and so that's good. Haig continued to struggle, and then it's, I think, this point where he starts getting a little bit better. The Los Angeles Kings just have our number, don't they? We lose 2-4 against the Los Angeles Kings here in our first game post Christmas, and Gabe Velarde and Amadio get the goals in the first. McNabb, with his first of the season, gets us up 2-1 before Danault makes it tie game 2-2. And then in the third, which, hallelujah, second period non-meltdown, Iafallo and Arvidsson get it, and Arvidsson's is an empty netter, but honestly, this game just wasn't... Second half of the back-to-back that I completely forgot about because, you know, I was just getting back into hockey again after the break, and yeah, I forgot that there was a game, but against the Ducks, and Aiden Hill gets pulled after 2 goals and one was really, really bad. I didn't see either of them. I didn't know the flow of the game, but it was like 5-6 minutes in, and Aiden Hill gets pulled. And it's not what you'd want, but Vegas is able to rebound, is able to get goals from Stone and Hutton. His first of the season, I'll take it. It's a tip in. We go into overtime, and the Ducks, at this point, have finally started winning in regulation. They had, I think, they only won 1 in the first 30 of the year in regulation. Then they won 2 in a row. And so they have like 8-9 wins and only 3 of them in regulation. So I'm not confident going into overtime against this team, especially because Zegras is sick, Troy Terry is sick. They have a lot of good young talent that is meant for that kind of hockey, I guess, that just can't get it done in regulation. And we do eventually lose in the shootout. When we went to overtime, I kind of figured we were losing, but I'm glad to at least get a point out of it, although only getting 1 point out of the Kings and Ducks kind of stinks. Terry and Zegras, the 2 that scored goals in the shootout. Gibson just had a Vezina level performance, I guess. Moving on to the next game, and thanks to the Excalibur, I won this jersey, and me and my wife were able to take our first date post-birth to this game, and what a game it was. It was fun, and there were 3 people from my hockey class this semester that were actually at this game, so that's fun too. Predators score first and second. Vegas scores third though, so we're only down by 1 heading into the second period, and it is Cody Glass's return to Vegas, and that was sweet that they had a video. I was glad that they did. There were a couple of Cody Glass fans right behind us, and that was fun. Keegan Kolesar with the tip in front to score. I thought it was Miramanov, but apparently Kolesar tipped it, and yay! 2-1 going into the second, and really, really quickly, Michael Amadio, with his 5th of the season, ties the game 2-2, and not too long after that, Riley Smith scores to make it 3-2 Vegas. So what do you think of the game so far? Yeah? We're up 3-2, second intermission, in the third period to go. Rachel did get on to the Jumbotron. Happy New Year's Eve. Chandler Stevenson scores to make it 4-2, and that's 4 unanswered goals by Vegas. Philip Forsberg gets one back. He seems to score against us a lot. I remember he returned from injury last year and got 2 goals in 1 game against us, and I think we still won that one, but I was, yeah. Then, with 4 seconds left to go, They're on the power play. I'm like, yeah, we've killed it so far. And then they score Philip Forsberg with a hat trick to make it a tie game, and we go in overtime. Hey, free hockey, I guess, you know. And I noticed that since Nick Hague broke Jack Eichel's face, that he hadn't been taking as many slap shots, but on a delayed penalty from Nashville, Vegas 4-on-3, Hague slaps it and it goes in, and it's his second of the year to win the game in overtime and send us all home happy. There was, in the second period, a fight between Brayden McNabb and Jakob Tremen, and it was because McNabb laid a hit. People thought it was, he thought it was dirty, I guess Tremen did. And it was a little bit like to the like upper shoulder area. I didn't see it hit head directly, but he got a game misconduct for that. And it was a 5-minute major, and Trenin gets a 2-minute instigator penalty. So I mean, it was funky. Anyway, it was announced that Vegas is going to be against Seattle in a Winter Classic next year. So New Year's Day plans, check. We're gonna quickly go through this. Colorado, they beat, Vegas beats Colorado 3-2. McKinnon and Rantanen had the 2 goals from Colorado. And then Amadio and Waugh had the 3 goals, Waugh with 2 tonight, and it was just a solid game from him. It was good to see him break his slump. Amadio has a 7-game point streak, and you know, I love that. This guy has been really performing with Stone and Stevenson, and so that's been really, really cool. And hopefully when Eichel comes back, he's able to slot somewhere else, and we're able to increase productivity in that line while also keeping that in that line. Logan Thompson gets named to the All-Star game, and that's awesome. A rookie, his first All-Star ballot, yeah! Speaking of Eichel's return, guess who's back? He returns. He's off of IR, and that's great. And what a return it was. Against the Penguins, 5-2 Vegas wins. They have a Kessel goal from Cotter, which love it. Then they had a Cotter goal from Kessel. Love it. Jack Eichel gets a goal as well. Stevenson with the power play goal, and Stone with the other goal for the 5 Vegas ones. And then Pittsburgh, it was Ty Smith and Sidney Crosby, and the Sidney Crosby goal that like he just always finds a way to get open right in front of the net, and it's good for Pittsburgh fans. Aiden Hill, this is his first game since that Anaheim game, and he was actually really, really solid tonight. So props to him. And as for the hot dog that I'll eat for the Kessel goal, that'll be later in the video. Last game of the video, and boy, I wish it ended on a happier note. Vegas loses 5-1 to the Los Angeles Kings, and I think it's just a thing we have with the Kings. They always tend to do well against us, which means if we were to be in a playoff matchup against them, I'd be more worried than against pretty much any other team right now. Battle of the reverse retros, Vegas's, and then the Kings, the white, the crown, purple and yellow, and I love it actually. And while this matchup was beautiful, the real beauty matchup, it has to be the Chrome versus Chrome. Please get those buckets in against each other, guys. Kevin Fiala has a hat trick for the Kings. Matt Roy, not Waugh, scores as well for the Kings as Victor Arvidsson. Honestly, second period ended and I was like, yeah, no, I don't feel like watching it because Vegas didn't have it in them. Marshy finally gets one at the end. He also had a stint where he was injured for a couple of games in there, but he's back again. And he scored, and great, good, I guess. Really bad game, throw it in the trash. Obviously learn from it, but do better in the future, and it's really all that you can do for this one. Anyways, it's gonna be it for today's nightly review. Also moving forward, looking at my last semester before I graduate, my wife's as well with the new baby. There will be a couple of changes to my channel as we move forward because I don't have time to do all of this every day. I might not even be able to have time to watch most of the games this semester until playoffs. So for the rest of the semester, the way that I'll be doing nightly reviews are gonna be through YouTube Shorts. So experiment with this and see what happens. We're halfway through the season. Wow, game 42. So that was games 27 through 42. Thank you so much for watching and have a good night. Oh, one last thing. Vegas just sent down Jake Leschyshyn with the purpose of sending him to Henderson through waivers. So we'll see if he's claimed in the next 24 hours. I'm not gonna know via video, but you're gonna see. He has 0 points in all of his 22 games so far this season, and that's not good. He also hasn't been great defensively and just has kind of been poor overall. Jonas Rondbjerg, while also not having any points, has been performing better, and so it made sense why we were choosing him specifically, but hoping he can regain his confidence if we end up keeping him in Henderson. 7th of the season. Actually, I think because of this, they're growing on me a little bit.
Guess who's back? Guess who's